You've got everything right. The camera, the lens, and your favorite film stock. But then comes maybe one of the most important parts of getting the results that you want. And that's scanning your precious negatives. There are a couple of different ways about doing this. But in my opinion, there's one to rule them all, and that is DSLR scanning. Today we are going to check out the essential kit for 35mm film from Negative Supply, which is their most affordable setup. This episode is also sponsored by Negative Supply. They send out this kit to me, but as always, all thoughts and opinions are my own. Now let's get into it, because I've been scanning a couple dozen rolls of film already with it, and is it really that good? Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk It Over. So out of the box, it comes with a couple of different parts to set you up for scanning. The basic film carrier 35 Mark II with standard cassette, Hall frame and panoramic format masks. The basic riser Mini Mark II plus camera mounting hex key. And the light source 35 adapter for the basic film carrier. With this, the only thing that you need is a DSLR or a mirrorless camera with a macro lens. I'm using my older EOS R, which doesn't leave the stand, and the 100mm macro lens from Canon. I've seen a lot of different setups. I've been using the Nikon D850 myself previously, and I've also seen a lot of people using the Fujifilm cameras. Don't waste too much money on this if you don't already have a macro lens or a digital camera at all. Any DSLR with a decent macro lens will do the job just fine. Let me hear your setup in the comments down below if you are already on this DSLR scanning method. I would love to hear what you guys use to scan your negatives. By the way, a lot of people asked me how big can I print my 35mm film with a setup that I have, and I haven't really seen the limits yet. Like, these prints are from my print shop and they are a decent size, but I think I could even print them twice the size and have no problems with it at all. And even after that, I think the bigger you print, the further away you need to stand from the frame, so minor differences wouldn't even be noticeable. With the setup out of the way, how does it work? You can either scan strips or uncut rolls of 35mm film with this setup. It depends, of course, what you tell the lab to do and if they even send you uncut rolls at all. I prefer to have them cut already in strips of 6 or 5. My lab does 5, but my negative sleeves are 6. So this will take me longer to scan the negatives, but it will save a lot of time when I'm archiving my work. Sometimes the lab doesn't see the spaces between frames. This happens when there are a lot of dark areas in the shot, so then they will leave it on the roll just to be sure. The film holder that comes with this kit keeps the film perfectly flat, so if you locked in focus, you're able to leave it and scan away. It depends on which film stock though, because I feel when I switch between Portra 800 and Ilford HB5, I have to adjust the focus. And I think this is because the film is physically thicker than the other one. I'll show you guys how I like to scan my negatives. Normally I do this in my office, which I can make completely dark, so there's no spill light from the windows. But for demonstration purposes, I will do it just right here. I've got the Negative Supply kit ready to go. Then I'll set the camera to a 2-second timer, and I've got it tethered to my MacBook Pro. I feel like this is the steadiest way to do it. This way I don't have to touch the camera at all, and I eliminate any shake. I think you can do it without a timer too, but I like to do it this way, and when I was shooting it with a DSLR, I even used the mirror lockup function to just eliminate any shake. So after scanning your roll, you'll end up with the raw files straight out of your camera. There are multiple ways to convert these negatives to positives. I use the plugin for Lightroom called Negative Lab Pro, which I've been using for years. I recommend using this plugin if you're DSLR scanning. I've got a very in-depth video about using Negative Lab Pro, so if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link down in the description. So what do I think about this kit, and is it worth the money? The way these parts are built is really good. They definitely don't feel cheap and are well designed. And also the light source, which is maybe the most important part of the whole kit. It's bright and it's even across the whole board. With cheaper light sources you might experience some fall off at the edges of the frame. This will result in uneven exposed negatives. And that's definitely not what you want when you are scanning your precious film. In my title I said that it's an affordable kit. And I really think it is. At the time of this recording, it's $249 for the whole setup. And thinking about everything that is included, the materials and the way it's designed, to me it's a price that I'm more than willing to pay for a setup like this. There are kits that are way more expensive than this one, like the premium curated kit or the pro kit. But if you're only scanning 35mm film, I don't think you can go wrong with the essential kit. Definitely if you are just starting out or you don't want to pay a ton of money for your scanning setup. Also, if you already have a digital camera with a macro lens, comparing it to a flatbed scanner like an Epson V600, you'll be paying around €400. And I truly think that the quality you get out of your scans with DSLR scanning is way better. I've also got an episode where I compare the scans between DSLR scanning, the V600 and a lab scan. So if you're interested in that, I'll leave a link down below. Talking about lab scans, I think you can cut down the cost when you're only developing your film at a lab and don't scan there. At my lab, developing a roll of 35mm film, color film that is €5, but if I want to scan it at the highest resolution too, it costs around €17. So that's €12 for scanning, so you do the math. I've been using the previous version of this kit for years and it has served me well. But I also think that this new kit is worth the upgrade. With the way it's designed and the metal plate instead of the wood, but definitely the holder which stays in place because of the adapter and the light source that all fit very well together. The price of the essential kit will earn itself back in no time. Well, it depends on how much you shoot, of course. So yes, I think it's the best option for an affordable scanning setup and get the most out of your negatives. I've said this before, but I also think that it's always better to do it yourself. Of course, it's easier and less time consuming to just send it off, but the person that is scanning your work wasn't there, him or herself. And they have their own opinion about how the image should look. I think that you'll learn more, be more creative, and get the results that you want when you scan it on your own. So that's my opinion about the essential kit for 35mm film. Thanks again to Negative Supply for sponsoring this episode and sending me this kit. I'll link everything in the description down below if you're interested in one of their products. For now, thanks for watching and I'll see you next week. Peace.